to the next episode of Next Generation.
Today we're going to be taking a look at the 8th edition of Nintendo Power, which features the wonderful, wonderful DuckTales on the cover. If you want to read this online, then link in the description down below. You can go read it.
We'll also be taking a look at Air Fortress for the Nintendo Entertainment System, and this issue also featured the first mention of the Nintendo Game Boy for gaming on the go. So we'll be looking at some of the things featured in the article and getting a feel for portable gaming back in the day. Let's jump right in. First game today is DuckTales, the iconic game based on a Disney cartoon. There was a whole series, I think they called it the Disney Afternoon. I don't remember the exact wording, but it was, there was a whole bunch of different cartoons. Darkwing Duck, DuckTales, there's a number of others I can't recall right now, but anyway, this, so DuckTales is based on the cartoon. Scrooge McDuck and his nephews, which are Donald Duck's sons, right?
I think they're also Donald Duck's nephews.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've never delved too deep into the family relations of the McDuck family. But in any case, so we've got Scrooge McDuck on his adventure to find treasure and riches.
Right.
So how did you find the DuckTales adventure?
I thought it was pretty fun. I actually think that I've played it before because I remember playing it when I was like little compared to now.
Yeah.
I was like 8.
Way back in the day, like 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember playing it then.
Okay.
I think I'm better at it now.
Yeah, so one thing I definitely remember being kind of tricky to get used to is the bounce.
Right, it took me... I died like 3 times before I was able to get the bounce right. I cut that out because it's kind of boring to watch me die over and over again while not killing any enemies.
Did you figure out the like golf swing thing? Did you ever notice that?
No, I did it once and then I couldn't do it again. And I looked through the Nintendo Power Edition and I couldn't find it, or like find any controls for it. So I was like, okay.
So going forward, you probably should look at the actual like manuals for a lot of these games, because they show like the controls. Usually that was something, especially like that one. I guess you might like accidentally discover that. But so essentially you walk up to a rock or something and push towards it so that you can't walk in that direction further, and then push whatever the attack or jump button,
right,
and then he'll do the like kind of golf swing thing.
Okay.
So it's got pretty great music.
That's
definitely, I think they did a great job bringing the theme from the cartoon.
Right.
And then made some of their own themes for the different zones and stuff.
Yeah, and that's one of the most notable things about it is how you can choose what level you want to do first, except some of them you need to visit certain areas to
so it had
them.
So similar to one of the games we just looked at recently, Mega Man.
Right.
It has that kind of ability to choose your path through the game.
Yeah.
But like you said, there is a little bit of a limitation on it in that you have to go to certain zones to open up areas in other ones, which adds even a kind of another layer, which I guess in a way Mega Man does that too, where not quite the same, with a key blocking something, but getting a certain weapon might make another enemy much easier.
Yeah.
One other thing I thought would be cool to mention would be they actually did recently a modern remake of DuckTales with cool graphics and kind of redid it, but kept a lot of the same theme and the cool music done in a modern style. And I think it's a really good remake of that. And is there anything else?
No, that is all that I can think of.
So we thought we'd take a look at the Game Boy article that was in this issue of Nintendo Power. This was the sort of the introduction of the Game Boy in 1989. So it was kind of a new thing. You can see like compact video game system. They're sort of introducing the concept of handheld gaming, because that was kind of a new thing back then. Growing up for me, the only way I had like portable gaming was a lot. So there was a lot of these handheld toys. So I thought to just kind of contrast for Laurel here, the difference. So I would show this motocross game. This was actually on a car trip that we took to California. Grandma got this for me as a way to keep me entertained in the car. And you can only imagine, so I'll do a quick little demonstration here. Hours of this thing going in the car. So you have it on the stop here, you wind it up, and then you give it a start, and you've got your little guy avoiding the other bikers.
Yeah, I don't know why he's going against the current. Like, it seems awfully inconsiderate.
No, well, he's going so fast that he's speeding by everybody.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
So that's a quick little demonstration of, sort of a mechanical portable gaming.
Yeah.
And this came out in 1987, and the Game Boy was 1989. So you've had a little bit of experience with portable gaming, right?
Yeah, because I grew up playing with the Nintendo DS, and then as I got older, the 2DS got released, and 3DS. But when I was like 8, I was like, oh my gosh, I need this. And then I was too poor. I saved up and I got a 2DS. And yeah, it was great.
So we've got the intro with the Game Boy here. I played a little bit of Game Boy. I never actually had a Game Boy growing up, but some kids at school would have them and bring them in. And so they had a link cable. So there was a couple games, I don't remember which ones, that you could do 2-player. So you could actually take 2 Game Boys and hook them together. Probably the main games I played were Super Mario Land and Tetris were the common ones that a lot of people had. Obviously they're focusing on Tetris here because that was sort of a big selling point on the Game Boy was Tetris. Quite a bit of information about Tetris. The Nestor comic down here. That's something we'll probably feature at some point is Nestor. Was sort of an ongoing comic in Nintendo Power. So that was the first appearance of the Game Boy in Nintendo Power in 1989. Next up, we have Air Fortress. What kind of game would you say this is, Laurel?
It's one of the games where you're constantly moving and you're in some kind of ship and you're shooting at things. I can't think of what those are technically called.
I think they call them like a shooter.
Okay, that's
side-scrolling shooter.
Yeah.
You were saying it reminded you of Life Force.
Yeah.
Right? At least part of it. So
yeah.
I guess what part of that would you say that it has the kind of the 2 modes, right?
Yeah. I actually didn't think that there's going to be more than one mode to it, because when I first started it, I was like, oh, that's kind of disappointing. Like, in Life Force, you had the 2, or you were able to upgrade things, and that was kind of the main thing that kept you going, and you're like, oh, gotta stay alive so I can keep upgrading and see what's next. But this one, I was like, oh, I don't really know why I'm collecting this stuff.
It feels like a pretty interesting, in the similar vein of Blaster Master, where it has the two sort of play styles there. So I guess we could kind of mention the story a little bit. So it's got the story where there's some alien fortresses coming towards this civilization, and you're kind of the lone space guy or ship or whatever. I don't know what your particular mode is there, but you're going out to fight these air fortresses and save your civilization.
Yeah. When I first looked at the air fortresses, It reminded me of like when I was in Minecraft and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna make a floating island. And then I would. So like I have a bunch of floating castles and stuff on some of my old Minecraft worlds, which is, yeah.
I don't know what, it's definitely an interesting theme that you see like over and over again in like fantasy and...
Yeah.
I mean, I guess in this case they're in space, so...
So it's more of a sci-fi type thing, but...
Well, and it's not so much floating in that sense because they're just out in space.
Yeah.
But, you know, in Minecraft and other things, there's just something... I mean, it's probably just because it's not something you see in real life.
Yeah.
Like in, what was the movie, Avatar? Did you see Avatar?
No.
We haven't seen that yet? Okay, we'll have to watch that at some point. But they're on this planet and there's like floating, rocky, outcropping things that are floating up in the sky. So it has that kind of magical feel anyway. So so you start out in the side-scrolling kind of way.
Yeah.
And then eventually make your way into the air fortress.
It was kind of alarming because it doesn't give you any warning or anything. You're just like moving around and then like you can't move and you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And then it directs you into the air fortress and you're like, oh, okay, we're doing this now. Sort
of a early version of a cutscene, but without much scene. Just auto moves your guy. Once you're in the sort of the inside, it's kind of a Mega Man, but kind of a platformy. Well, I guess I'm trying to think of any of the other games that we've looked at that had kind of a floaty feel to them.
Like in
not
Mario,
a whole lot.
When you're in the swimming levels.
Yeah, I guess it does have a similar to the kind of Mario swimming.
Yeah, I beat the original recently, so that's most fresh in my mind.
Yeah, so it's got kind of that floaty feel you're going through. So I think that covers Air Fortress.
Yep.
Thanks for watching Next Generation.
If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, make sure you leave a like and subscribe.